But with this game consuming my brain the way it has been, I figured I should get these thoughts out of my head, that way I can hopefully regain the ability to concentrate. Because God knows I need it. Hopefully the video will be out before the 1.1 livestream, that way the things I say age poorly rather than being outdated from the start. Well, I guess I did end up managing to upload before the 1.1 depth stream, because there isn't one. That's a bummer. Hi, it's me, Miredio, the guy whose brain is 95% wuthering and 5% waves. In my last video, I mentioned how I hoped making it would help put my mind at rest so that I could once again become a functional human being. Which is also part of why I hoped it would be out before the dev stream, so there would be a small period of downtime where I could not think about the game. Unfortunately though, I took so long editing it that the official announcement for 1.1 came out, which is basically the dev stream equivalent. And as if that wasn't bad enough, I failed so badly at getting the video out quickly that the day after I posted it, the trailer for 1.1 came out and gave us all the remaining details. And now, as I'm writing this, 1.1 itself is around the corner. So not only did I fail at getting this game out of my head, in my effort to do so, I have actively extended the frequency and magnitude of these thoughts because I had to think about finishing the video. And now it's too late to escape, as my life for the foreseeable week or so shall be nothing but wuthering as I slowly wave my sanity away into oblivion. But hey, at least I'm having fun. That's the part that matters, right? Speaking of fun, 1.1 trailer. We didn't get a live stream, but at least we got a pretty trailer. And I have some thoughts on it. Like I said in my last video, I'm not good with compliments. So I will be focusing on the negatives, or more so the nitpicks that I have. But please do note that I loved it, and I'm really looking forward to the update. It's just not in my nature to be positive about things. I fully acknowledge that as a flaw of mine, but I may as well make the most of it. In hopes of getting this video out before 1.1 is actually live, I'll try to be as brief as I can, but I'm also bad at that, if you didn't notice from the last video being 30 minutes. It's Dragonspine. Like, genuinely, it's a frozen area with a big dragon. Look, I don't mind this, and I have zero issues with them continuing to copy Genshin's homework, but Dragonspine was kind of ass. It's the only area in all of Genshin where I speedran into completion because I wanted to be done with it as soon as possible. And it all mainly comes down to the frostbite mechanic. It wasn't fun, it wasn't engaging, it was just annoying, and I used a healer to bypass it entirely. I didn't see an indication that there's a frostbite mechanic in this, but if there is, it is going to be miserable. So yeah, hopefully that won't be the case. Other than that, fix the damn progression tracker and we're good to go. They seem alright, but one of them seems like it'll be another just switch to Amber sort of scenario, so here's my suggestion. 1. Add a 6th echo slot. 2. Make it so that echo slot does not provide any stats or set effects, but replaces your primary echo when you're out of combat. 3. Make an echo with a gun. 4. Enjoy the ability to carry practical echoes around without having to gimp your ability to fight, since entering combat will switch you back to your actual combat echoes. There, end suggestion. Next. Assuming Sentinel Jose doesn't get the total treatment and only has one set effect, that means he's obviously Spectra, and that means Spectra is now capable of running a 4-4-1-1-1 set, which I think is awesome, and I hope all damage types get access to that sooner than later. The parrying echo is never getting used. Currently, I feel like parry stances are a bit useless. At least when compared to just attacking instead. I mean, even with Taoshi, it's kinda rough, so yeah. Judging by how it looks, I'd hope it has Spectro and Glacio as its set options, which means it is useless to me beyond contributing to my ever-growing collection of Glacio damage echoes. I don't know why this game is so aggressive about wanting me to play a Glacio character, but I guess I'll eventually budge if it keeps pushing this hard. The fact that the only arrow field is also a Glacio field does not help. Also, small tangent, fuck this Tacet field. It's the worst one, and of course it's the only way to get arrow echoes. Literally no other field has hazards even half as annoying as this one. Fuck! The tiger seems like it'll behave partially like the rider. So if that's the case, I hope they actually double down and make it fully behave like the rider, because I think having more of them is awesome. Game's obviously Spectro, though hopefully this one is Spectro/Fusion for its sets. Glacio Dreadmane is obviously Glacio, and I can only hope its secondary is Havoc, because apparently I'm gonna need 10,000 Havoc sets, so it'll be nice if I can get some wall exploring. The Larva and the Shaken are one cost, so who cares? One is obviously Spectro, the other is obviously Fusion. I'd expect one to be Glacio secondary and the other to be Lingering Tunes or something. Also, since we're getting so many presumably Glacio echoes, I would assume for 1.2 we'll get at least one Glacio character. But I don't know that yet. We'll see if I can get this video out before the Drip marketing reveals that. Anyways, I have just one concern with this entire section, and that's the fusing function. Whenever you fuse echoes into more echoes, the result is completely random out of any 1 or 3 cost echoes that you have unlocked. So, assuming all these echoes are being added to the pool, that means the odds of you getting any one specific echo are now much lower. Which is not a big deal, but it'll only get worse as updates go by, and it's already pretty rare to get a usable echo out of this damn thing. Add to that the fact that inevitably we will get more echo side effects, and the system is gonna be due for a rework sooner than later. I don't really have a pitch for a rework right now, but in general, I think giving players more control over what they get will go a long way to make the system be actually useful and stay that way in the long term. Because right now, it's kind of just a gachapon for echoes, to be honest, and it has no hard pity, only raw luck. Exploration, good. Photos, boring. Elusive Realm, update. Hype. Crownless, scary. Gachapon event, Lord help us all. Daily logging, this should all be limited pulls, Kuro. Half a temple of each is really nothing as a one-off event from the update. Yes, I do agree we need more permanent banner pulls, but this ain't it. And also, the way Genshin does it, yeah, I don't like that one either. There's zero reason to ever spend Primos on a permanent banner. And the permanent banner is, and should be expected to be pretty dogshit, so I think making pulls for it obtainable through more active means is generally a good thing. Like through exploration, like Tower Fantasy does. But either way, just make the login all limited pulls. We are not going to pretend like a limited and a permanent banner pull are worth remotely the same. Events should hand out limited pulls since they are time limited and special. Permanent pulls should be handed out through more permanent means since they're really not worth remotely the same, but they can still serve as good incentive to play the game, like a carrot on a stick for players that just want more characters. Also, yes, I am aware of the second check-in event. Banger, no complaint here. My point remains though, stop treating these two currencies like they're comparable. Treat them differently and treat them right. Players will love you for it. Let's be clear here, I'm skipping both of them. I have my eyes set on a hotter target. I would still like to mention some microscopic problems that I thought of though. Their weapons feel certainly like choices. Jinxie wields a broadblade, somehow, which I don't have a problem with, while Shangli wields a sword. This is the smallest possible nitpick, but I really wish it was literally any other weapon. I feel like there's a ton of sword characters in the game. One quick search will tell you that that's not the case, but the reason it feels that way is because the game starts you off with 3 of them. Weapon diversity helps build multiple teams since you can level up a single weapon of every type and then pass it between different characters. So the game starting you off with 3 swords is certainly a choice. Because it means you're not forced to at all, but are likely to end up using at least 2 of them together since they're a good chunk of what you're guaranteed to have. And leveling up 2 swords is kind of a pain. Not to mention, the weapon itself is not as practical as it could be. Jinsei is more than likely gonna bring a crit rate Broadblade, which is great, because the permanent one is attack percent and Gigens is crit damage, so Broadblade users now have access to the crit rate weapon they needed to complete the set. On the other hand, swords already have a crit rate 5-star and it's a permanent one, and it's also just kind of insanely strong in general. So while sword users get to feast on a second magnificent toy, gauntlets get to cope and see that they still don't have a crit rate 5-star option. This is definitely not a biased take coming from a Jian Shin player, I swear. On a slightly more serious note, their roles do concern me a little bit. Apparently they are both main DPS characters, which is fine on paper. Spectro has no main DPS character, with Verena and Rover being all it has. Period. So it's great that they get one now. Fusion, however, DPS is basically all it has. So rather than filling up the role of a supportive fusion character, it's just another DPS. Which inherently means competition, which inherently means power creep. Look, power creep is a very serious concern in any game, since it can really kill the fun if it's let to get out of hand. But it's also unavoidable to some degree. Even still, the easiest way to delay it is to avoid characters overlapping roles as much as possible. So to add a limited DPS to a damage type that's already overcrowded with DPS is the opposite of that. It's obviously nothing too immediately worrying since the game is still just one version old, but if you played these games before, you know damn well just how ridiculous things can get, and it can do so fast. Like I said, it's partially unavoidable, but it can be delayed. So seeing Kuro not do that and instead just seemingly dive head first into it is disheartening, to say the least. But time will tell how they'll handle power creep. There are ways to do power creep better than others, but I'll save the discussion for the day I see a red flag. This is more of a yellow flag for now, since realistically there's so few characters that you can make the case that overlapping roles means you can share echoes and that makes team building easier. Which I can get behind. For now. And that's it, folks. Like I said, this video does not represent my overall feelings about the update. I'm pretty hyped, frankly. Instead, it's about the immediate things that came to mind as potential, if minimal, issues that the update may bring. Since my mind works in a way that forces me to think about those things, and I'm much more experienced at verbalizing those. Dare I say, too experienced, because I had to stop myself from going on longer about any of the points. I usually like to spend some time trying to come up with good solutions to the problems I point out, but I want to get this video out before 1.1 drops, so I can't really do that. Or it will come out closer to 1.2. In any case, I'm probably going to be too busy watering to make another video for like a week. But we'll see, maybe something will irritate me enough to feel the drive to complain about it immediately. That's kinda how I work, mostly. In any case, let's get to the formalities. If you like the video, be it because you share or agree with my nitpicks, or because you find my insanity amusing, make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Us crazy people have got to stick together after all. If you didn't like the video, fair. I'm almost certain I'm going to make the title as dramatic as possible, and that's going to water me on the inside. Because clickbait drives me waves. But it's also kinda funny if done right, so maybe I'll develop a liking to it. In any case, make sure to comment down below every reason why I'm wrong and why the game will be totally fine and I'm just doom posting. The greatest part about being unwillingly negative is that I'm actually glad to be wrong, so by all means, be my guest. With nothing more to add, if this video doesn't come out before 1.1, I have yet again failed and I may as well water myself. But even if it does, I'll see you guys in the next one. Until then, take it away.